So welcome. Today I'm joined by Rob Kavanagh. So Rob is the UK ECD for Oliver. So those that don't know, Oliver is brand tech's biggest creative agency. And although Rob is a 25-year creative, he's spent the last 18 months embracing AI and seeing how it can be embedded in the creative process and how potentially it can help drive growth for the agency. So welcome, Rob.
Thanks, Pat. Nice to be here.
We don't seem to be able to have a conversation within our industry at the moment without these two letters popping up, AI. You guys have been on a journey. There was an interview with David Jones in the Times the other week saying how he wants brand tech to be the most advanced AI marketing organization on the planet. Brilliant ambition. Obviously, it comes with challenges. You know, for Oliver, what are the big either cultural or functional or organizational challenges that you guys have faced of really trying to embed this into what is a very creative process and agency?
Yeah, well, as you say, it's been a journey, but for us, we've been on it for the best part of, over 2 years, really. And right from the get-go in the late 2022, when it was really entering our industry as the next big thing, because the last big thing, of course, was metaverse, and we needed something else to latch on to. And so from a creative perspective, we instantly saw the potential, from the ability to imagine stuff or create stuff that, you can imagine but have never been able to bring to life before, through to amplifying brands, whatever. We saw so much potential from the very beginning. Where the journey started, though, was bringing our clients along on that journey, because it was as new for them as it was for us, and almost by definition, there were no real experts in the world, because, the person with the most expertise had, 2 or 3 years on them, compared to somebody else. So it was, understanding how we could use the technology, understanding the technology, first of all, what we could do with it, how we could apply it to clients, use it with brands. And then also sort of a healthy degree of skepticism, because in the early days, the quality wasn't there, but we knew AI today is as bad as it's ever going to be. And that has absolutely held true. Every time you go back in to use a platform, it's better than when you last saw it. So we knew immediately that it was going to be the future. And we sort of got on that journey as soon as possible. And we were, fortunate, I don't know if that's the right word, but we were inspired as an organization with our, the Oliver leadership, but of course with David Jones, Brand Tech Group. That was their founding principle, was to empower brands through the use of technology. Yeah. Hence the Brand Tech Group.
So in the world of advertising, we're often trying to change the behaviors of consumers, and actually changing people's behaviors is super, super difficult. If I draw parallels with a new intern that starts, do I spend 3 hours showing that intern of how to do a task, or do I do it in 20 minutes with myself? And with a lot of new technologies, people default to the old. So you've got changing their behavior, but you've also got, you live in a creative world where there's this perceived big threat of how AI is going to take creative roles, make them redundant, and do it themselves. How did you work to encourage people to embrace it, to change their mindsets, maybe from worry into opportunity?
Something that all creators in every industry is grappling with it, but it's certainly all creative talent in any kind of industry. There's really two parts to it. There's the mindset, as you say, and there's also the skill set. And I think the mindset is you got the early adopters who, I remember when I first saw Midjourney, it was, I think, September 22, and one of my designers was using it on her iPad, using Midjourney via Discord, and I just remember thinking, this is fucking incredible. How do I do this? I want to do this tonight. I just immediately was taken by it, and it kind of, I was thinking about this on the way over, because why was I so taken by it? And I think it's because 30 odd years ago, I used to do photography in the darkroom, and that process where you've exposed the print and you're developing it, and that image is appearing in the developing tray, and it's that sense of anticipation. You've got no idea what's going to come up. And in the early days of Midjourney, it was a bit like that. It could be wonderful or completely weird and shit, and but that was the thing that I really liked. And so I realized I was fortunate to have my creative department, a number of creative minds that were early adopters and always have been and wanted to jump on the next big thing because they could immediately see the potential of it. But then, of course, we had, people who weren't so keen for that journey. I think very early on saw AI, generative AI, as a threat to their livelihood in some ways. So to counter that from a mindset point of view, as an organization, right from the outset, I guess we probably took a carrot and stick approach. The stick was AI is not going to take your job, but somebody that knows how to use AI probably will. And I think that still holds true today. But as I say, it's been 2 years since we started the journey. But we have been, as you'd expect for a creative organization, we've been inspiring our creative talent and all talent in the organization to see the potential, feel inspired for their own role, and understand how it can amplify their own skill set and imagination and expertise. I don't think there are many people that we have out of our global organization of 7,000 that don't see AI as being the future. And as you said, David Jones, drew a line in the sand, or put a what's the phrase? I don't know.
Stake in the ground.
Stake in the ground or whatever, saying, to be the number one Gen AI marketing company in the world.
You should get your boss's quote right.
Yeah. And for us, it's to be the number one Gen AI creative agency in the world. And to do that, we need creative talent that are empowered. And then from a skill set point of view, to cover off, so mindset, and then from a skill set point of view, from the very beginning, we've had the support of Brand Tech Group, support of some brilliant brand partners that we work with, and some very innovative proprietary spaces where all of our talent could play with the technology, the latest technology, in a brand safe environment without worrying about how much it costs and all this sort of stuff. So, and once you get creatives playing with stuff, they come up with cool things,
So I think it was Maisie McCabe from Campaign a week or so ago on the podcast said that 2024 was for especially the big holdcos, was the year of building AI and orchestrating their resources to get it ready. And this will be the year of doing. You guys started doing nearly 2 years ago. You bought Pencil, was it 23 or 24? I think that's kind of the heart of the technology platform that you use.
Yeah.
Do you feel that as an organization, you are 12 months ahead of the pack?
I'd like to think so. I mean, I don't know, because everyone holds their cards pretty close to their chest. And what I would say is for us, 2024 was a year of pilots with so many global brands, and 2025, I think, is the year of performance for us, taking those wins, taking those learnings, and just amplifying the success for our clients.
Yeah. What
I do know is some of the bigger holding groups, until very recently, and I mean the last few months, until then, AI was a no-go zone for the creatives. Right. I don't understand why.
So if you think about the creative process that you go through, when you're given a client brief, what part of it is it either speeding up or is it making better for you?
We have a workflow where it can amplify or enhance or certainly support every aspect from the insight to audience profiling, targeting, through to developing the brief, propositions, ideation to some degree, and then certainly where much of the focus has been on the execution or the producing side. Yep. From a creative point of view, I break it into two sort of work streams. There's the producing part of the creative act, and then there's what I call the playing part of the creative act. And as I say, the lion's share of the attention has been on the production side, the execution. So there's lots of AI work out there, particularly on display and social, but they don't necessarily have enhanced ideas. The execution is slick and elegant, although it wasn't always. Part of that is also the presentation and the persuasion, the selling of ideas with clients, and getting them to understand what's in your head. Or I can't remember the last time I saw a scamp, because they're sort of obsolete now. A good old sketched storyboard, you can so elegantly and eloquently sort of pre-visualize that now with AI. So there was a massive integrated campaign that we worked on last year, presented the key visual, the main conceptual idea for the campaign in January. And for this particular client, they loved that Gen AI'd creation, but for their internal policies, they had to have the origination. They had to have absolute provenance of the final asset. So we ended up shooting it, traditional style. But the key visual that we sold in the idea with from January was still the reference image on the day of the shoot in August. So, from that point of view, it's phenomenal. Nothing changed in those 8 months from the original concepts.
So does it get you to an answer quicker, or does it give you a better answer? Or is it a bit of both?
It's a bit of both. For me, like in the ideation process, I'm a copywriter. That's my background. And, if you're in the flow and you've got lots of ideas and you almost like, you kind of capture them, sort of park them, and you keep going, you want to come back to them. And what AI's been able to do for me as a creative partner in the room is explore taking a creative platform idea and seeing if you can do, another way I think of it is, it's easy to come up with one ad, like a press poster or something like that, but you don't know you've got a campaign. You don't know if it's a campaignable idea until you do 3 executions. Right. And actually in some instances, I've had an idea and I thought, okay, can this stretch? And I think to myself, okay, if it's a headline based idea and it flexes some of the brilliant BA work that's, out of home work from recent years, you think, has it got legs? And I could spend an hour trying to come up with half a dozen more, or I could spend 5 minutes with AI and maybe just see if, it's instinctively there's something in it. What I would say, and this is probably a good thing as well, is AI has never come up with an idea for me, but I believe it probably will at some point. It's only a matter of time.
So I find it really useful as an organizer of my thoughts. So sometimes the output is actually shorter than the prompt that I'll put in. You kind of like brain dump onto a paper and you ask it to help organize those thoughts into a more consistent way that you can then do something with it.
Yeah, I've experienced that as well, which is brilliant for presentations and things like that. You're working on a creative rationale and you just, you can just talk with it.
Yeah, or written work, or if you're putting proposals, I find it very, very useful when you're putting in a proposal and you're just trying to order your thoughts in a way that, takes a client through a story.
And I think for many creative minds that are more magpie in nature, where they draw upon lots of, sources, compiling them and sort of curating them into a cohesive narrative is pretty powerful. The other part of the creative process for AI, the way I describe it is creativity to the power of AI. So there's the producing side, the production side that we talked about. So the execution, so the key visual creation, the image creation, that sort of thing, or indeed motion now, which is pretty incredible. And all those aspects, copywriting, that's kind of like the craft and execution. But then where it's really coming to its own is in the play side. So this is how I define that, is ideas that could not have existed without the support of AI. And so there's been lots of examples like brand activations or brand experiences, tools and things like that we've created in the agency that AI has been able to bring to life, so clients could actually see it and engage with it if it's a tool or something like that. I like to call a prototype. It's not a prototype because that takes a lot of investment. It's just enough investment in the idea that the client can absolutely understand what the hell it is that you're selling, you're suggesting, if that makes sense. So that's things like using, Claude and artifacts, or ChatGPT and Canvas, where you can bring something to life right there and then. I don't know how to code, but I don't think you need to these days.
No, I don't think you do.
Probably shouldn't say that, but
Well, you can ask Claude to write the code for you.
Well, but it was, I was thinking about this, maybe I think we might have been talking about it earlier, but or last time we met up, but I think it was actually Google that kind of predicted this back in 2013. I was at South by Southwest, and they had this proposal of the end of the classic art director, copywriter, creative duo, and theirs was all about art, copy, code, and the idea that you would have a coder of some capacity in that, to create a triumvirate. And it made a hell of a lot of sense at the time, and they were kind of the inspiration for that was around this brand and technology merger as well, but it was far too ahead of its time, and it sort of died a death 12 months later. But that's kind of where we're at now. You've got the ability to have a coder in the creative process at all times.
So I'm now going to ask a money question, which I know will probably make you feel quite uncomfortable. Do you think there's the expectation that clients are going to ask for the golden triangle of faster, better, cheaper? And it kind of comes to the cheaper bit. Are they going to expect you to be able to get to things quicker? So surely if we're paying you on man hours, we shouldn't be paying as much.
Yeah, well, that triumvirate is better, faster for less. That has been the founding philosophy of Simon Martin and Oliver for the last 22 years. So we are well versed.
Oh, so you're happy with it? It's fine.
Well,
it plays to your strengths.
Yeah. But for me, it's always been, rather than nobody wants a race to the bottom in efficiency. I think what is incredible with AI is how it enhances and amplifies human talent. Yeah. So rather than saying, well, you only need half a person now, the equation, the argument should be founded around, well, you still need a person, but AI creates 1.5 times the skill set and the talent.
It's additive. It's not reductive in terms of time.
Yeah. And that is absolutely true, because the one thing that AI doesn't really have from a creative perspective yet, certainly, is taste. It doesn't really know what good looks like.
No, it doesn't know what it's doing. It's just
by definition. Yeah. Mind you, there's a lot of us like that. So,
That is true. I've done 25 years in industry, probably prescribing quite well to that. So if we think about clients, obviously all the work that we do is to the benefit of clients. And I'm sure they sit on a spectrum, a bit like, your staff. Some embrace it, some less so. The briefs they're coming to you, are they requesting that you use AI to expand your thoughts? Or is it just look, this is just how we work. You give us the same brief as you've always given us. We'll just use AI to make our output better for you.
We don't use AI for every single client, because there are some clients that have some discomfort around the security of AI, or haven't got an internal policy that embraces it. That's some of our clients. So and they're on a journey. They're looking to the leadership of us as an organization, but the experiences and the successes and the journeys that we've been on with some of our other clients, right? For them to have the confidence to do it themselves. But for the clients where they are on board with AI and they feel protected, and they know that their IP is safe in the platforms that we use, platforms like Pencil, for example, which is proprietary, built from the ground up, and integrates with almost every main AI platform. Sorry, it sounds like I'm trying to sell Pencil, doesn't it? They don't say you need to use AI. They expect it.
Yeah.
They don't care where it's used,
right?
As long as we're using it in the way that we've agreed with them contractually. From their perspective, anything we can do to make more effective creative work, that is the ends, and whatever the means via AI, let's do it.
If you can cast your mind back 6 months ago, you and I were sat in a pub, and I was explaining what 300 was, and that it's going to have a technology platform, the equivalent of Pencil. It's called Neo. It's slightly less developed than Pencil, but only just. And you said to me, you need more knowledge about what AI can do in the space. You gave me some books to read. I went through them.
This sounds like me.
Yeah, podcasts.
Yeah, that sounds
I
like
listen
me.
to 4 or 5 podcasts a week now that are either general business and tech, but it's all about AI. So to the listener, this may sound about a couple of weeks old, but This week we had the news about the $500 billion worth of investment in Stargate. A day later, we've got everyone is up in arms about DeepSeek. It's impossible to keep up with this stuff. What do you do personally, or what could you advise our audience to do to try and keep up with what's going on? Because it feels like the floodgates have opened. There's so much out there. You almost don't know where to look anymore.
You can't possibly hope to know everything. So whatever your skill set is, or your area of expertise, that's the first place to start. So for me, it's creativity and strategy as well, and sort of perhaps from a creative point of view, it's kind of obvious, like seeking inspiration. What are the best creators doing in the space? And there's lots of accounts that you can follow on Instagram, of course. That's kind of the obvious thing. But then in terms of the technology advancements, because like I was saying before about Claude artifacts, I heard about that on, I think it might have been the Hard Fork podcast or something like that, or whatever, or it might have been Ethan Mollick had mentioned it, or something like that. I thought, God, that sounds cool. So you can create something and it can code it for you. And then it's just getting that knowledge from somewhere and thinking, well, I'm going to have a go. Because this is the brilliant thing about AI. There's no, LLMs or Gen AI image platforms, there are no instructions. You just have to figure it out for yourself. And you're going to play. And I think, you just got to trust in a few different regular sources, like podcasts, like you say, Pivot, Hard Fork, The Verge. I know you're a big fan of Every. What is it? Every.to or Every.to. Yeah, that's brilliant. The mind, the authors on that platform, on that subscription site are brilliant. Lots of good stuff going on in lots of great Substacks, like Ethan Mollick, his book, brilliant. I don't know. You've got to lean into it. It's like a night course in some ways. It feels like it. Yes, if you're not interested in it, though, it helps that I'm interested in it, right?
Yeah. I never thought I would be, and now I just seem to. That's all I kind of think I dream.
We've become AI bores.
No, I know. It's all very well agencies having these this technology infrastructure that AI is powered, but the challenge is making the people well enough versed in it that they're not burning time with their bad outputs, but they're actually managing to use it to enhance their work. How have you guys addressed that?
I'm the sort of person that imagines that everybody is just doing this in their own time and exploring AI in their own time, because, I'm a bit naive like that, but that hasn't been the case. So we had to get our creative talent fully all in on it. In the UK, we actually gave everybody a day to dedicate to their AI development in the way that it related to their creative craft. So if you're a copywriter, you were using our platform, which is called the Sandbox, which is a brand safe, secure space where all of the main AI platforms, from ChatGPT to Runway, basically anything with an API, can live, and our talent can use it. And they had a day to explore it, right? They don't all take the same day. It was spread across a few months. And I love that book, Co-Intelligence by Ethan Mollick, because he talks about the magic number is 10 hours. Once you've done 10 hours using AI to support the stuff you do every day in your role, if you're a planner, or if you're a designer, once you're using it once you get to that magic number of 10, there's no going back. You just think, I can't not continue doing this, and so that was the ambition with the creatives, the ones that hadn't, I guess, some creatives were already working on accounts where AI was expected of them because the clients had signed up for it and everything, and the others, it was not yet. So we wanted to make sure they were ready to hit the ground running.
It's a good point about that book. If anyone out there wants a recommendation on their first book to read, I would say Co-Intelligence. It gives you a great foundation about what AI is and the opportunities for it. A couple of last questions. So this podcast and 300 is all about agency growth.
Yeah.
Do you feel that the technology that you have, so Pencil, the way that you've trained your people, the work that's coming out of them now is going to position you better for growth than many of your competitors who are less well developed in this space?
Absolutely. I mean, the way I think about it is, we work with a number of very large clients and brands, right? And we're one of a number of partner agencies within that ecosystem, that marketing ecosystem. And we all have very defined swim lanes, but with our lead with AI and our expertise and our experience that comes from that, there's a whole swimming pool that's been built next to everyone, and there are no swim lanes, and we're in that at the moment. And I think that's what will keep us in that space, is continuing to deliver the kind of breakthrough work that the clients expect from us. Delivering more effective marketing outcomes for them, and that's the way it should be, right?
So, what are you most excited about for 2025? One thing. You're only allowed one.
You know what? The industry is still. I always talk about the subservient chicken moment, right? So so it's Burger King's subservient chicken, and I always remember because I started my career at nobody knew it at the time, but sort of like the sunset of the old advertising world and the dawn of digital. And as a creative in the early days, so the late 90s, early 2000s, no creative wanted to go near digital banners and all that. It was a creative wasteland until subservient chicken came along, and you'll remember it. The chicken your way, and that was the brand promise for Burger King, and you could boss this chicken around in this weird website. And I just remember thinking, God, that was, I wish I'd done that. And that was like the changing point for creatives. It's like, well, I want to do that, so I want to be digital now.
So are we in the next subservient chicken mode?
Yeah,
right,
I'm waiting for subservient chicken
to come back.
We've seen some cool stuff. I've seen some stuff that I really admire, but I don't think we've had that proper moment where,
right? Yeah,
maybe we'll see it over the next couple of months before Cannes. I want it to be us. There's some things that we're working on. Maybe it will be.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's exciting.
So last bit. So I got one question and I got a gift for you. So at 300...
Is it Ethan Mollick's book?
No, it's Ethan Mollick himself.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah, in the package. So at 300, we have a weird obsession with a flying goat. It's almost... It's kind of like, it's like BBH's sheep. We've got a goat with wings. I won't go into it. Well, first of all, this is for you. So thank you, because I can imagine you'll be wearing that at the weekend when you're painting. But secondly, you've been in the industry for a while. You've worked with lots of brilliant people. Who has been your goat? The person that has inspired you, crafted yourself around, or?
Yeah, well, I haven't got one. I've got two. So I'm sorry.
Well, I only asked for one, but you can have two.
I can't have one without the other. So the first is Chrissy LaHood. She was my first proper ECD in New Zealand, and from her I got this sense of understanding how to be a creative professional, as in it's your job to get the job done, and before that, I was probably about a year out of university at that point as something, and the creative process can never stop. And she instilled this sense of discipline around it. Now it's a job.
Yeah. And
along with that, a sense of play, as in, if it's not working for you this afternoon, stop. Then my other goat is Steve Harrison. He gave me my first job in London. I had no idea who he was, or who his agency was. I was just very happy to get a job. And then I can't believe how lucky and fortunate I was to work for him.
Thanks, Rob. It's been an absolute pleasure. And also a big thank you to all of our listeners, and keep an ear out for the next 300 seconds.